Today, I'm going to expose the 7 strategies that cheating wives use to stay one step ahead of their husbands, and how female psychology, emotional intelligence, and social conditioning make them look completely innocent while living an elaborate double life that would make a spy jealous. These aren't just theories or speculation. These are documented patterns of behavior that relationship psychologists and therapists have observed repeatedly in cases of infidelity. Before we start, hit subscribe and drop a comment if you've ever felt that something was off in your relationship. That inexplicable feeling that something wasn't right. But you couldn't prove it, couldn't put your finger on what exactly was wrong. Your story could open another man's eyes before it's too late, before he ignores those warning signs that you wish you hadn't ignored. Strategy 1. The controlled schedule. How it works. She builds a life that looks completely predictable and routine on the surface. Gym on Mondays without fail. Errands on Wednesdays at the same time. Brunch with friends on Sundays at the usual spot. Book club on Thursday evenings. Yoga class on Tuesday nights. Her week is structured, organized, consistent. From the outside, it looks like the life of a responsible, busy woman with healthy habits and an active social life. But here's the truth that most men miss. It's not actually routine. It's sophisticated camouflage. It's a carefully constructed schedule designed specifically to create a pattern so reliable that you stop questioning it entirely. The predictability isn't accidental. It's weaponized against your natural tendency to notice anomalies and changes in behavior. Psychology behind it. Cheating women understand something fundamental about human psychology. We notice changes and disruptions far more than we notice consistency. When someone's behavior is erratic and unpredictable, we pay attention and we question it. But when someone establishes a rock-solid routine that never varies, our brains categorize it as normal, and we stop actively monitoring it. We stop asking questions. We stop wanting proof or verification. She uses consistency and predictability as her greatest tool to build unshakable trust in her schedule. If her routine never changes, if she's been going to yoga every Tuesday for the past year without missing a single session, you eventually stop even thinking about it. It becomes background information, as reliable as the sunrise. And that's exactly when the routine becomes her cover for something else entirely. Example, she tells you she's at yoga every Tuesday night at 7 p.m., and she's been saying that exact same thing for over a year now. You never doubt it anymore because it's just established fact, just what she does on Tuesdays. It's part of her identity now. She's the woman who does yoga on Tuesday nights. You might even defend this routine to others. Oh, she can't do Tuesday dinners. That's her yoga night. But the routine itself is the lie. The stability and consistency hide the chaos of her actual activities. Maybe she went to yoga the first month to establish the pattern, to create the alibi, to build the foundation of the lie. But now, Tuesday night yoga is when she meets him. The predictability you trust is precisely what allows the deception to continue undetected, week after week, month after month. Strategy 2. The emotional alibi, how it works. She strategically picks fights with you, creates unnecessary drama over small issues, or suddenly acts distant and cold for no apparent reason. Then, when she needs to leave the house for hours or disappear without detailed explanation, you naturally assume it's because of the argument you just had, because she's upset and needs space, because she's cooling off from the emotional intensity. You think she's taking a walk to clear her head, or going to a friend's house to vent about the relationship. You never imagine she's meeting another man. Psychology behind it. This is textbook psychological misdirection, the same principle magicians use to make you look at their right hand while the left hand performs the trick. She's creating an emotional smokescreen that completely justifies her absence in your mind. Anger, sadness, frustration. These intense emotions provide perfect, unquestionable justification for needing time and space away from you. You won't follow her or demand to know exactly where she is because you feel guilty about the fight, or you're emotionally exhausted from the confrontation, or you genuinely believe she needs time alone to process her feelings. You might even feel relief that she's leaving to cool down rather than continuing the argument. Meanwhile, she's not cooling down at all. She's heating things up somewhere else with someone else. Example, she deliberately starts an argument about something trivial. You forgot to take out the trash. You didn't respond to her text fast enough. You made plans without consulting her first. The fight escalates quickly, seemingly out of proportion to the trigger. Then she storms out dramatically and says, "I just need space right now. I can't be around you when you act like this." You naturally assume she's driving around to calm down, maybe going to a coffee shop to sit alone, perhaps visiting her mother or a close friend to talk through her feelings. You feel bad about the fight. You're not suspicious at all. And when she returns 2 or 3 hours later, she acts calm, sweet, even apologetic. She might even initiate intimacy to reconnect after the argument. The illusion is completely sealed. The fight served its purpose perfectly. It gave her the emotional alibi she needed. Strategy 3, the too honest routine. How it works. She suddenly starts oversharing random, completely harmless details about her day with unusual specificity. "I went to Starbucks and the barista got my order wrong, so I had to wait an extra 5 minutes. I bumped into Jessica from college at the grocery store and we chatted for 10 minutes about her new job. I bought groceries and they were out of the organic milk you like, so I got the regular kind." Every mundane moment is reported with surprising detail. This calculated fake transparency builds a completely false sense of trust and openness. Your brain registers all this information sharing as evidence that she has nothing to hide. After all, someone with secrets wouldn't be so forthcoming about the boring details of their daily activities, right? Wrong. Psychology behind it. Psychologists call this technique information flooding. When someone bombards you with many small, harmless, verifiable details, your brain naturally relaxes its guard. You think, "She tells me everything, even the boring stuff, so obviously she's not hiding anything significant." The overwhelming volume of trivial truth makes you blind to the crucial lies hidden in the gaps. More importantly, you stop noticing the missing pieces, the hours she didn't mention at all, the transitions between activities that don't quite add up, the timeline that has unexplained gaps. She told you about the coffee shop and the grocery store, but what about the 3 hours between those two activities? You don't even think to ask because your mind is satisfied with the information it received. Example, she comes home and tells you in exhaustive detail about every small thing that happened at work. The meeting that ran long, the funny thing her coworker said, the problem with the printer, the lunch she had at her desk. She shares text messages showing these innocuous conversations. She volunteers information you didn't even ask for. But notice what she doesn't mention: where she went during her lunch break, or why she left work 30 minutes early, or who she was texting while she told you about all these other things. The flood of harmless truth drowns out the significant omissions. And because she seems so open and communicative, you never think to dig deeper or ask about the gaps in her narrative. Strategy 4. Using female sympathy networks. How it works. Her friends become her accomplices, sometimes consciously and intentionally, sometimes unconsciously, and without full knowledge of what they're covering for. Every group activity becomes a convenient shield for her activities. Girls' night out, spa day with the girls, shopping trip, wine tasting with my girlfriends. These female bonding activities are socially acceptable, expected even, and create perfect cover for her actual whereabouts. The beauty of this strategy is that even if you call one of her friends to verify her story, the friend will instantly back her up, whether she knows the truth or not. Female social networks operate on unspoken rules of loyalty and covering for each other that often supersede honesty, especially to men who are seen as outsiders to these bonds. Psychology behind it. Women often protect each other's secrets under the powerful banner of privacy, girl code, and female solidarity. Even friends who privately disapprove of the cheating, who think it's wrong, and wish she would stop, won't expose her to you. Why? Because female loyalty, especially in opposition to male authority or questioning, beats moral honesty in the hierarchy of social obligations. There's also plausible deniability built into the system. Her friend might genuinely believe she's covering for a surprise party or some other innocent secret, or she might know exactly what's happening but consider it not her place to interfere in someone else's relationship. Either way, the female sympathy network functions as an impenetrable wall of protection. Example: you call her best friend asking where your wife is because she's not answering her phone and you're starting to worry. The friend instantly, without even a millisecond of hesitation, says, "She's with me, we're at dinner, she must have her phone on silent." No pause to think, no uncertainty in her voice. It sounds completely natural and truthful. That's because it's rehearsed. They've had this conversation before, probably multiple times. They've established the protocol. If he calls, you say she's with you, no matter what. The immediate, confident response is precisely what makes it believable. And because her friend delivered the lie so smoothly and naturally, you have no reason to doubt it. You apologize for interrupting their dinner and hang up, completely reassured. Strategy 5. The emotional reversal, how it works. When you finally work up the courage to question her or express your suspicions, she doesn't just defend herself. She completely flips the situation, turning your legitimate concerns into evidence of your flaws and problems. Your suspicion becomes the crime, not her behavior. If you dare to question her, she gets dramatically offended, cries real tears, or accuses you of being paranoid, controlling, insecure, or abusive for not trusting her. Psychology behind it. This is guilt projection operating at a masterful level. By making you feel terrible for doubting her, for not trusting her, for questioning her integrity, she keeps you emotionally paralyzed and unable to pursue your legitimate concerns. You become the bad guy in the narrative she creates. You're the one who needs to apologize. You're the one with trust issues who's damaging the relationship. And here's the psychological trap. The more you apologize and back down from your suspicions, the freer and safer she feels to continue her deception. Every time you accept blame for your paranoia, you're actually giving her permission to keep doing what she's doing. You're training yourself not to trust your instincts, not to question inconsistencies, not to demand truth. Example: you notice she's been on her phone constantly lately, texting and smiling at her screen, quickly putting it face down when you enter the room. You finally say, gently and reasonably, "Hey, I've noticed you've been on your phone a lot lately. Is everything okay?" She immediately looks hurt and responds with indignation. "Wow, so now I can't even text my friends without being accused of something. I can't believe you don't trust me. After everything we've been through together, you think I'm doing something wrong because I'm texting? That's really hurtful." She might even start crying, making you comfort her for the pain you caused by asking a simple question. You immediately feel small, ashamed, and guilty. You apologize profusely. You reassure her that you do trust her, that you're sorry for even bringing it up. And she walks away feeling confident and secure, knowing she's successfully trained you not to question her again. Next time you notice something suspicious, you'll remember this moment and keep quiet, too afraid of being made to feel like the bad guy again. Strategy 6. Selective affection. How it works. She demonstrates sophisticated understanding of relationship dynamics by knowing exactly when to pull away emotionally and physically, creating distance and coldness, and precisely when to reel you back in with sudden warmth and attention. After a period of lying, emotional distance, or suspicious behavior, she'll suddenly become affectionate again, extra loving, unusually attentive, initiating intimacy, planning romantic gestures, saying all the right things you've been wanting to hear. Psychology behind it. This is reinforcement conditioning, straight out of behavioral psychology textbooks. Your brain is being trained to associate her affection and warmth with your decision to forgive, to stop asking questions, to let your suspicions drop. Over time, through this repeated pattern, you unconsciously stop confronting her about concerning behaviors because your brain has learned that confrontation leads to coldness and distance, while acceptance leads to warmth and connection. You start associating questioning her with loss of affection and not questioning her with receiving love and attention. Your brain, seeking pleasure and avoiding pain, naturally steers you toward the behavior that gets rewarded, which is exactly what she wants. You're being psychologically conditioned to be compliant, trusting, and unquestioning. Example: she acts cold, distant, and emotionally unavailable for an entire week. She's short with you. She doesn't want physical intimacy. She seems annoyed by your presence. You're confused and hurt, wondering what you did wrong, trying to figure out what changed. You're walking on eggshells, trying not to upset her further. Then, seemingly out of nowhere, she plans a romantic dinner at home with candles and your favorite meal. She's warm, affectionate, attentive. She initiates intimacy with enthusiasm you haven't seen in months. She tells you how much she loves you and appreciates you. She's the woman you fell in love with again. Your brain floods with relief and happiness. You think, things are finally good again. Whatever was wrong has passed. We're back to normal. You feel loved and secure. But what you don't realize is that this isn't love, it's strategic damage control. The week of coldness corresponded with increased activity with the other man. Now she's back to managing you, giving you just enough affection to reset your suspicions and buy herself more time. Strategy 7. Manipulating technology. How it works. Modern cheating requires modern methods, and she becomes an expert at digital deception. Hidden folders on her phone that require special access codes. Secondary messaging apps you don't even know exist. Apps disguised as calculators, note-taking tools, or photo vaults. Renamed contacts where Mike becomes Sarah, or Mom, or Dentist. Gym app actually hides encrypted chats. Battery saver secretly logs calls you're not supposed to know about. She uses disappearing messages, secret browsing modes, dual phone numbers through apps, cloud storage you have no access to. She becomes a digital ghost, leaving no trace of her double life in places where you might accidentally stumble upon evidence. Psychology behind it. Cheating women exploit your assumed trust and your lack of technical sophistication. They correctly calculate that most men won't actively snoop through their partner's phone because you've been socialized to believe that privacy should be respected in relationships and that checking someone's phone is a violation of trust. They rely on your decency, your respect for boundaries, your desire to trust rather than verify. More cleverly, they know that even if you do look through her phone, maybe during a moment of strong suspicion, you won't find anything obviously suspicious because she's already sanitized it. Everything incriminating has been deleted, renamed, hidden, or moved to platforms you don't know to check. Example: your suspicions have been growing. You finally work up the courage to look at her phone while she's in the shower. Your hands are shaking. You feel guilty for invading her privacy, even as you scroll through her messages, call history, and photos. You spend 15 minutes checking everything you can think of. You find nothing suspicious. Her messages with friends are innocuous. Her call history shows mostly calls to you, her mum, a few other recognizable names. Her photos are normal. Selfies, food pics, screenshots of funny memes. You feel relieved, but also guilty for doubting her and violating her trust by checking. What you don't know is that she deleted the incriminating messages 5 minutes before she got in the shower, right after you said you were going to bed. She has a second messaging app hidden in a folder labeled Work Documents that you didn't think to open. The contact saved as Emily Jim is actually him. Her cloud storage, which requires a separate login you don't have, contains everything she really doesn't want you to see. You looked, found nothing, and now you trust her more than ever, exactly as she planned.